All right, have we got Knowles? Is he there? Bringing him in by satellite. You are in Kentucky. No, you're in the next room.
Right over in that broom closet. That's where I am, coming in hot from a lot of Super Bowl barbecues.
In Shapiro's broom closet. So you actually watched all the ads. Actually, I watched the ads this year. I don't always, but I watched the ads.
This was one. You know, I don't really care for sports that much. I like baseball, but I don't really care for the Super Bowl. I was waiting, though. I was salivating for all the absurd, crazy, leftist, stupid ads, just like we got last year. Yep. And I knew it was going to make a great fodder for this segment. And then do you know what happened? Then Donald Trump won the culture.
He did.
Donald Trump won. It was pretty good. The ads were pretty good. The game was pretty good.
Yep. The game was very good.
This is the first assignment you've given me in years, I think, that wasn't just misery-inducing and suicide-making.
It was a complete mistake on my part. You know, if I had known, believe me, I would have had you watch the puppy Super Bowl. You know.
I think there were three kinds of ads last year. There was just one kind of ad, and it was the anti-Trump ad.
That's right.
It was every single one of them.
That's right. That's right.
You know, last year, I don't know if you remember this. I wrote out a little list of them. Last year, Budweiser ran an ad about how great immigrants are. Coca-Cola did one of singing America the Beautiful in different languages, you know, to really stick it to Trump. Yeah. Audi made one about women driving race cars for sexism or whatever. Right. Yeah. Handmaid's Tale ran a commercial about Handmaid's Tale. Enough said. Airbnb made one about the travel ban. A shampoo company made one about how terrible Trump's hair is, on and on and on. This year there were three kinds of ads. Political ads, slacktivist, hashtag couch surfing activist ads, and genuinely funny normal ads about the product. And the great irony here is the most political ad of the night was pro-Trump.
Which one was this?
It was pro-America. It was an ad by WeatherTech. And the WeatherTech ad, it actually ran a line. It said, just right on the screen, at WeatherTech, we built our new factory right here in America. Isn't that the way it's supposed to be?
Yes, and it looked like they were building a wall. You know, it looked like the wall going up. And there was one where Ronald Reagan was the last voice you heard on it. I can't remember which one that was.
That's right.
It was a very pro-American thing.
Very pro-American ads. And then there were a couple. Coca-Cola assaulted the English language. They used the gender-neutral they. Do we have a cut of that?
There's a Coke for he.
And she.
And her.
And me.
And them. There's a different Coke for all of us.
No Coke for them, just me and her, and there's no them. But anyway, whatever, that's fine. It wasn't terribly anti-Trump. Yeah. T-Mobile did one with a bunch of babies.
That was one of my least favorite. I mean, the Keanu Reeves ad was the stupidest ad, but that was my least favorite ad, that T-Mobile.
It was so lazy. It was just a bunch of babies whining about equal pay or something. But even on that ad, CBS Money Watch gave it an F. The consensus among the ad buyers and the ad makers was that it was a terrible ad. That basically was all of the political ads. The anti-Trump thing, they clearly learned something from last year. There was another class that seems political, but they're different, and those were the slacktivist ads. That was Matt Damon telling you to buy a Stella Artois mug so that you can, I don't know, give water to a billion people in India or something. It's because, though, I've been reading a number of studies about this. Millennials love vague humanitarian activism, so they don't like doing anything.
No, you don't want to go out to those African places because they don't have no fresh water.
They're icky. They have all those icky poor people.
Yeah, you buy the Stella Artois, and that'll get them some water, whoever they are. Somewhere there'll be water. It's like, could you pass me the bottle, please?
Yeah, that's exactly. While you're on your couch. But this study shows half of millennials think CEOs have a responsibility to talk about social issues. Half of them are more likely to buy from activist CEOs.
Yeah, this explains something and actually makes me feel a little bit better about that T-Mobile ad, because I sit and watch that T-Mobile ad, and you know what I'm thinking? The whole ad was babies of different colors, and you know, we're all together and equal pay, and everybody, some people may not like you. And I was sitting there thinking, who the hell are you talking to? You know, you calling me a bigot, you little piece of garbage? You know, like, take your T-Mobile and eat it. It's like, that's the way I'm feeling. But I guess millennials are sitting there going, yeah, now I'll buy that phone because we're all one.
Well, the other thing T-Mobile could have said is, do you want to not have service in 80% of the country? And that ad didn't test as well in the focus group.
No matter who you are, you will not get service. We treat everybody the same. Yeah.
I think that's it, though. I don't think that they were sitting saying, yes, we need to fight the social issue. I think they were talking to the ad makers who say, you know, 68% of millennials testimonials say a company's social and environmental commitment is extremely important when deciding which products to buy.
I wonder, they say that. I wonder how true that is when they actually go out and buy.
I wonder, but you do see all of these ads doing it. So Tom's Shoes is the great example. This company that gives shoes to poor people or something.
Yeah.
And they make terrible shoes. The quality is awful, but people buy them because they feel like they're doing something activist. The crazy one. Did you see the Dodge Ram commercial?
Oh my! That was I was embarrassed for that one. I mean, how am I getting? Isn't there like a series of people who can stop that ad? You know, I always wonder this when I've been in the movie development process with scripts, and there's all these people saying to you, oh well, this doesn't make sense, and why is the gun over here when he left it in the kitchen, and all this stuff. And then you actually go to the movies, and the movies, their plots, you could drive a Dodge truck through their plots,
right.
And you think, where were those people? When I saw that Ram truck ad, I just thought, why didn't anybody stop this thing?
Why didn't anybody read the speech that they?
Tell them what it is. Yeah,
they had Martin Luther King speaking and giving this speech about service and greatness over the truck ad, and said, 50 years ago to the day, Martin Luther King gave this speech. In the speech, I decided just a quick little Google search of the speech. He said, quote, "We are so often taken by advertisers, those gentlemen of massive verbal persuasion, and they have a way of saying things to you that kind of gets you into buying. In order to be a man of distinction, you must drink this whiskey. In order to make the neighbors envious, you must drive this type of car."
They left that part out.
They didn't quite that part. He probably goes on to talk about Dodge itself.
But it's kind of like, it's Martin Luther King. He's a serious, important guy. It's like it's just a truck. Mm-hmm. And then did you see the Jeep truck?
Yes.
Ad? I mean, that was the kind of answer. If I'm stepping on your material, go ahead, you do it. But
no. There were answers to these ads. I mean, some of them absolutely nailed it. And some of them were just Martin Luther King. They were trying a little too hard. Where, Jeep climbing up rocks or something.
Yeah.
You clearly understand what this product is. And I think it's because, I think that the takeaway here is that the people who are creating the culture, the ad makers in Hollywood and in New York, they're still lagging behind the American people. They still don't quite get it. They're very blunt instruments. It still vaguely smacks of, hey, fellow kids, what are y'all doing? Trying to be part of them. But it's much better than it was last year. They are catching up. Because we're just talking about these slacktivist or political ads. The majority of them were just kind of funny. They were just regular ads with actors making funny faces and Morgan Freeman rapping or whatever. And that is a vast, vast improvement. And you'll be shocked to hear me say this. We do have to give credit to Donald Trump for this phenomenon.
There's just no question. I mean, first of all, there was a lot of postmodern ads in the Tide ad, which was my favorite ad of the thing. I really liked that, where they would just have they would pretend it was a different ad, and then they would say, oh, but look how clean everybody's shirt is. It's a Tide ad, really, And that was very postmodern. The Jeep thing was very postmodern because they talked about manifesto ads, which the Dodge truck ad was, and they said, this is our manifesto. Just drive that
climbing up a mountain.
That will do it. But yes, even the movies with The Rock, he's playing a veteran. He's missing a leg, and he's going out to save his family. What would you die for? I'd die for my family. And the Mission Impossible one was unpolitical, looked like a really fun action movie. But it's just as if somebody, my friend Glenn Reynolds, who's the Instapundit, or as we call him, the blog father, because he was the great leading blogger of his day, and he always says, "Go woke, go broke." And I think that somewhere along the line, some of these guys started to scratch their head and say, "Oh, they don't like us when we hate their God and their country. Maybe if we want to sell them beer, we should be nice to them." I mean, because that's it. We've been standing them up, and I think we should keep doing it. And I think Trump has been a cheerleader for that. And I think they're learning their lesson.
Keep the pressure on. Could you imagine if we had been talking a year ago and all the main stories that dominate are the players kneeling for the national anthem and Colin Kaepernick and this and that, and we have to change team names and anti-Trump and all of that. And then what happened? People stopped watching and the ratings plummeted, and people are cutting their cords to basic cable, and ESPN has totally lost its mind. Sports Illustrated, people are canceling their subscriptions, and believe it or not, we were able to get something out of it. The culture is swinging a little bit back toward reason and not hating the country and not hating our fellow countrymen. And this is not the time to go weak. This is not the time to say how wonderful. We have to stand up. We have to support the cultural agenda that the wrecking ball of a cultural warrior, Donald Trump, is leading the charge to fight.
It really is amazing. It is like the people, it's like with the immigration thing. The people aren't saying no immigration. They're saying, if you bring 15,000 people into my town with 3,000 people, we can't assimilate them. The people know this stuff. They have a complete, accurate sense of it. They know when there's been too much. And it's just these guys, they will not listen. But hopefully, the thing that would make them listen more than anything, I was thinking this as I'm watching this, is if Trump actually wins the midterm, or he doesn't lose the House in the midterms, I think that would wake these clowns up. I think finally they would start to say, oh, I get it. The people don't want this. We're not doing our jobs.
All of historical precedent would suggest that Trump is going to lose the midterm, that we'll lose the House or something like that.
Yeah.
And yet, those models only work in normal years, and this is not a normal year.
It's true.
If the Republicans held the House in the midterm, that is the mandate. That is the mandate that we've rightly been claiming since November 2016. But that is a clear mandate that the American people they're concerned about basic things, about the economy, about tax reform, about deregulation. But all of that is just accounting because politics is downstream of culture. And Americans have had enough with a decayed culture that hates them. And they're finally fighting back.
It's great. It is great to see. What's on the Michael Knowles Show?
Today we are talking about, we don't want to get too controversial today.
No.
So we're just talking to a Catholic priest about gay marriage. We're just talking about...
Oh, that's interesting. That'll be really interesting. He is holding the Catholic line.
He is. He hasn't become a heretic yet. He hasn't been excommunicated yet. Wait until he's on my show, though.
Yeah.
And but it is a question that, for some reason, this is the question that preoccupies everybody's mind for the last 10 years, even though it affects a relatively small number of people.
I know.
And we will debate whether or not conservatives should get on the gay marriage train or whether there is some other path that we can follow in our culture.
That sounds great. Even I might watch. No way.
Not a chance.
All right, I'll see you. Thanks a lot, Knowles. I appreciate it.